Hey, I don't give a lovely fuck about what them bitches gotta say. I'm a woman where's a nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't give a lovely fuck about what them niggas gotta say. I'm a woman where's a nigga till they put me in the grave. I don't care about what they say. Hey. Fuck with my Akima, fuck with my sisters, then I got a problem, I'm never gon' miss you. I got 100 hanging out the AR, I got a 50 hanging out the pistol. He say it's corner, I'm just being realistic. I be on them corner posted with the realest. If it's the Sabbath, then we going fishing. I'm reeling them in, that's a God-given mission. I'm really on 10, but I'm stamped in the pistol. I get the order, be glad of this mission. Hebrew Academy graduate, nigga. Training, go through the baddest conditions. I don't fuck with none but the baddest of bitches. She righteous, submissive, she glad to be with me. Had that thing Putin like Batman, nigga. She know I'm a prophet, she glad to be listening. Disrespect, I ain't having that shit. Tell her go make some business from scratch. She bitchin' a different breed of black men. We don't do the back bend. I remember back when I was really trapping, trying to get them racks in, selling dope to black men. But now I'm trying to make it straight. Like never get up out my face. We standing up straight, can't fold us. Too heavy, the world won't hold us. Go get you some rank, I told you. Line up in these ranks, we soldier. You can take that to the bank, we focus on how many times must we remind you. One body, one breath, some break off and never take off as a flex. When the law with you ain't no up next, it's just us, nigga, that's that on that. All that weak shit, that ain't no threat. Say you won't beat, bitch, with that ain't no sweat. We with all that. The Lord called a nigga out the world, I responded and called back. Oh Lord, and everything that they stole from us, fuck that shit, we want all that. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on the command and general, your hunter, we unaffiliated with them. Like who they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. That's why we unaffiliated with them. I cannot fuck around with fake niggas. We taking ground when we in your city. You better hide the women, hide the liquor. Keep that bitch on me, please don't butt the system. Don't be a fool and be another victim. Say you a goon, you just another Christian. How you my brother, you ain't in here with me. We in the gutter, deep down in the trenches. We with them niggas locked up in the prison. Fucking Hispanic, Native American, Indian. We ain't just talking shit, but we living in it. We be everywhere, you can't miss it. And we be fresh as hell, take a picture. And we professional with the scriptures. Play, we gon' scratch them, yeah, we some killers. These niggas tripping, they mind blown. Swear business, forgive me if I'm wrong. I be at it pause when niggas say that they be looking for niggas to slide on. The only slide that I know about is when I assemble the Glock with the slide on. Real, I get the order, you know that it's slaughter. See me and my niggas gon' die. The bigger the better for kingdom of heaven. You niggas get wet up by me cause I'm fed up. I rep UPK. My niggas won't let up. Got choppers, got nines, AKs, Berettas. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like bitch or whatever. You say you don't like me, you say you won't fight with me and my nigga like. Them niggas snitching and they act like bitches. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They killing women and they fuck with sisters. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Come on the command and general, your hunter, we unaffiliated with them. Like who they tongue and they say they keep that shit 100, we unaffiliated with them. They telling lies, switching up the doctrine. That's why we unaffiliated with them. They ain't gon' ride until they die, so that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. See, they always ask us like, why y'all fuck with such and such? Why y'all won't come together with such and such? I be like, we unaffiliated with them. Understand me? Like, niggas be out here on some weirdo shit. And to be honest, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Hey, that's why we unaffiliated with them. Yeah. Oh.
All right. Shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer War holding down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes here in Memphis from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. The address to the school here in Memphis is 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. Again, 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. Since 1969, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge has been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2025, there is nothing more important than for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to learn the truth of who we are according to the Bible. What we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible so we could gain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has placed inside of this book so that we can come back to being the people that the Most High called us to be and to reclaim our righteous place on the earth as kings, priests, princesses, and daughters of Zion. That being said, I'd like to start the class off with questions. If any brothers and sisters have any questions, all you have to do is type them in online. If you have any questions in the room, all you have to do is raise your hand. And if we don't have any questions, we're going to go ahead and get into tonight's topic, which is blood in, blood out. All right. Tonight's class is going to be about loyalty. It's going to be about the seriousness of taking oaths and standing on your word. All right. So I'm going to give y'all a couple seconds if anybody has any questions online. And if there are no questions, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. All right. Um, all right. So I don't see any questions online. We're going to go ahead and get directly into tonight's topic again. The topic of tonight's class is blood in, blood out. Um, in life, no matter where you find yourself, no matter what walk of life you come from, no matter what your, I won't say racial background, but regardless of what culture or society you may have come up in, the most important thing in your life as a person is your word. Right, the most important thing you have as an adult, as a person, is your word. Everything in life is about taking an oath. It's about standing on your word, and it's about loyalty. We're gonna get into some of those. We'll get into tonight's class. We're gonna get into some of the ways in which your word and taking an oath um, holds a lot of weight, regardless of where in society you find yourself dealing or doing business. You know what I'm saying, or moving about. Your word is everything that you have in this life, and that's even magnified when you come into the truth. You come into the truth and understand the culture that God established with the children of Israel. This culture that God established with the children of Israel is one that is based on keeping your word and saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and remaining loyal to the promises that you've made and to the contracts that you've entered into. If you look at the world, so much of the world is a reflection of God's word, even in ways that heathens and people who refuse to acknowledge God and his power can't even comprehend. When you start to go into the Bible and you start to read the Bible and understand it from a historical and cultural perspective, you begin to see how the framework of society comes out of what the Lord wanted to be established with his people. And because God's people have not reclaimed their place on the earth and taken charge of demonstrating to the planet or all the people on the earth how a highly functioning society is supposed to be established and supposed to run, these other nations don't know that the standard that they live by is so much lower and so much weaker than the one that um, people should be living by. Right. And so tonight's class, we're going to go in this Bible and just show you, in a perfect society, in a perfect world, um, your power as an individual before any action can be taken lies in your word and people knowing that you are someone who is true to their word, and people knowing that you are someone who is loyal to the things that they have committed to do. All right. And without that currency, right? Without the a good reputation and a good name, or being known as someone who keeps their word, you really have nothing in this world. All right. That becomes more magnified when you come into the truth. So the first scripture we're going to go to is Matthew chapter 12 and verse 34. All right. Matthew chapter 12 and 34. This is a scripture again about the power of words. There's a lot of new age philosophy and religion that's stirring about in the earth, and there's a whole lot in these new age religions where they talk about daily affirmations and the power of the tongue and speaking things into existence. And then really a lot of those things sound good or feel good, or they have a form of godliness, but not according to the way the Lord established it. All of these religions that we have on the earth are bastardized versions of what God tried to establish with the children of Israel. You can look at every religion and every aspect of worship and belief on the earth and see pieces and parts of what God tried to establish with the children of Israel, but only in the ISUPK, and by understanding the Bible the way it was meant to be read and understood, can you get the entirety of what proper worship looks like, or what proper living looks like, or what the proper execution of these concepts that are beneficial to mankind and life on the earth have been executed. Everything in its perfection is contained here in this Bible, but you see pieces and parts of it in different aspects of various religions, right? And so one of those aspects where um, something that God establishes executed perfectly is here in the Bible, with the power of words and the power of understanding what the weight that comes with saying what you mean and meaning what you say. Everybody understand? So the first scripture we're gonna go to is Matthew chapter 12 and verse 34. All right, Matthew chapter 12 and verse 34, and it reads, "O generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things?" This is Christ speaking, right? Talking to a generation of vipers, meaning what? A generation of snakes, generation of evildoers, people that say one thing but mean another, someone that talks with a forked tongue. That's why he called them a generation of vipers. He says, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. What does that mean? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. What does that mean? What is the abundance of your mouth? The abundance of your mouth is what's weighing heavy in your mind, what's in the front of your mind, right? Your mind is consumed with thoughts. Your mind is racing about this thing that you believe or you think, or this thing that you desire, you want. And what is on your mind is what you speak out of your mouth. The desires that are in your mind, the things you want, that's what you speak on. Everybody understand? Let's keep reading. Verse 35, a good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things. What makes a man a good man? What makes a man a good man? And then what does a good man put out that makes what that can be good to someone else? Anybody? What makes a man a good man? What makes a man a good man is obeying the Most High. What makes a man a good man is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. What makes a man a good man is doing the things that God requires of you to do. And if you are a good man that is obeying the Lord and doing what the Most High said to do, then what will you produce? You will pass on those good things to other people. You will teach other people to obey the Lord and to be like you and how to uh, keep the Lord's laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? You'll be compassionate on your brothers and sisters. You'll help others to be better and to not fall apart. A good man, out of the goodness of his heart, the good things on his mind, produces good fruit. Everybody understand? Reading on in Matthew 12 and 35. An evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. What is evil? What's an evil man? A man that disobeys God. A man that doesn't do what the Lord said to do. A man who's conflicted on whether he should be righteous or he should be wicked. And what are the things that an evil man produces? Evil, he passes on that evil to other people. It's ideas and philosophies and ways of doing things that can only hurt other people. Being deceitful, being manipulative, playing on people, lying to them, gaming them up. Those are the evil things that an evil man produces. Why? Because evil is always on his mind, trying to get over and scheme on somebody or scam on somebody or tell somebody what they want to hear, knowing that they're not going to do any of the things that they're saying. That's what an evil man does. Everybody understand? Verse 36, but I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. Everybody understands? Christ is letting you know, you need to understand that every idle word that a man speaks, he's going to give account thereof in the day of judgment. Meaning what? You should be very careful with what you say out of your mouth. You should watch the things that you say. Why? Because those are the things that you are going to be judged on. When we're talking about the good things in a person's heart and the good treasure that comes out, it's talking about the words that you speak. When we're reading about the evil treasure and the evil things that come out of your mouth, it's talking about the things that you speak. That saying that you should think before you speak is absolutely important and paramount in your walk with the Most High in this truth. It is absolutely necessary that you are very careful with the things that you say. Why? Because you will be held accountable for them in the day of judgment. That not only applies to someone sitting in my position, in my seat, as a priest of the Lord. People come to you for answers. People come to you for counsel. People come to you to get help. You better be careful the things that you say out of your mouth, because those things, when people hear them, they accept them as they're coming from the Lord. Imagine you sitting in this seat and you teaching and telling people things, and what you're telling them is wrong. What you're telling them did not come from the Lord. What you're telling them gets them into trouble or gets them killed or gets them to lose their home or betray their family. Guess what? All that pain and suffering is on your hands. It's your responsibility. Be careful what you say to people as a man of God. You understand? You sisters, you a wife, you have a husband. You get angry with him, get mad, and you say foul, evil things out of your mouth. Tell that man that he ain't shit. He ain't a good man. He not a good father. He never there and do what he's supposed to do. You should watch your mouth, woman. You should be careful, because the Lord is going to judge you in when the time comes for the things that you say out of your mouth. You brothers, you get mad at your woman. You call out her name and tell her that she ain't nothing, and you wish you never met her, never got with her, and you should have left her where she was at. You should be careful with what you say out of your mouth. You understand? Because every idle word you're going to have to give account of in the day of judgment. Now, if you somebody that's calculated in the things you say, and you think through them clearly, and you know that what you're saying is right and true, and you deserve to say these horrible things out loud right now, no sweat, Most High Christ, Lord be with you. Just don't be out here speaking and not understanding the weight that comes with the words that you speak. Everybody understand? Matthew chapter 12, verse 37. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. What does that mean? How can you be justified by your words? Give me some ways you can be justified by your words. What are some ways you can be justified by your words? What are some things you can say that are going to reflect good on you in the day of judgment? What are some things that you can say out of your mouth that will justify you for time's sake? All the time in the truth, right? Brothers and sisters come and tell you, something you did or something you said was amazing, or you did something great that helped them. It's always good to say, that wasn't me, brother or sister, that was the Lord. I can't take no credit for that. That was the Lord. Guess what? In the day of judgment, you may be justified by those words. If you did something, the Lord used you to do something, you didn't take credit. You know what? You're justified. That was right, that was honorable that you gave the Lord the credit, gave the Lord the honor. You understand? What's some other words you can be justified by? Your brother does something amazing, and you or sister does something amazing, and you recognize them. You big them up. You never know how much you can strengthen someone's spirit just by recognizing them. They do something amazing, do something great, and you recognize them and honor them, and you say, man, this brother or sister deserves to be celebrated for all their hard work, all their dedication, all the things they do behind the scenes. You understand? I haven't quite done it yet, but there's going to come a time I'm going to outwardly honor all of the beautiful sisters that are down here in Memphis, Tennessee in the ISUPK. You understand? Some amazing sisters down here in this Memphis school, and they've helped me tremendously, helped the brothers tremendously. They put their hard work into everything that gets done. Brothers and sisters come into town, they make sure they feed them and take care of them. Hell, they took care of me. Everything that I got, I owe to these sisters down here in this Memphis school. They're absolutely amazing and beautiful. And there's the day coming where they're going to get their flowers and they're going to get acknowledged and recognized so that the whole earth knows that there are some beautiful, amazing women in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge in Memphis, Tennessee. You honor them, guess what? There's going to come a day where you're justified for recognizing and honoring the people who deserve it, who have done hard, great, and wonderful works. Everybody understands? There are words that you speak that you will be justified by. What are some words that you speak that you'll be condemned by? What are some words that you speak that you should be careful that you're saying out of your mouth? You understand? I'll give you one. Since I came into the truth, 2010, Commander General Yohana made sure that we let it be known that the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge is not affiliated with any Hebrew Israelite group or organization on the earth. You understand? And that if it did not come out of the ISUPK and the Commander General Yohana, it did not come from the Lord. Everybody understands? What does that statement do? What do those words establish? Those words establish a superiority. Those words establish that this is the place that is the standard of the truth. That the Lord is here and the Lord is nowhere else. You understand? Well, imagine you speak those words out of your mouth and then you're not serving the Lord. You're not obeying the Most High. You telling other people, Christians, fake Israelites, they don't know God. They ain't got God's word. They not authorized to teach. And then you going and sneaking and getting high, buying prostitutes, buying whores, doing evil things, and that you think is in the dark. Well, guess what? You're gonna be condemned by those words. They gonna come and it's gonna. You said what? Did you say out of your mouth that nobody had the truth except for the men under Commanding General Yohana? Were you one of those men? You gonna say, yeah. And what were you doing? Speaking those words, you can be condemned by that. Everybody understands. You should be careful with the things that you say out of your mouth, because by the words that you speak, you'll be justified, and by those words, you'll be condemned. Everybody understands. Um, let's drop that. Now think about life, right? Outside of the truth. Think about things that people say and words that they speak that they think aren't meaningful. Well, okay, not even aren't meaningful. There's nowhere in life where your words that you speak don't carry weight, right? Where the words that you speak aren't impactful. We live in a society today where, there's social media and people can hide behind avatars and hide behind profiles and type and say things, and believe they won't be held accountable. But prior to the internet, that's not really how life worked. Prior to the internet, you had to be careful with what you say because you could say the wrong thing and end up losing your life. You know what I'm saying? Or you could say the right thing and end up gaining access to things in life that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to get. But everything in life is about keeping your word, taking an oath, and remaining loyal. Everybody understands. What are some things in life that require us to take an oath? What are some things in life that require us to take an oath? Um, Go ahead, Ash.
I would say like getting in the union, you have to take an oath.
Say that. Getting in the union, right? What is joining the union like? What is something else that you have to take an oath to?
Being in the truth, being a priest, you have to take an oath.
Being in the truth. Give me some things in the world though.
And in the world, take an oath to be when you get married, so called, the so called marriage.
Take an oath for the so-called marriage. Think smaller. Think simpler. When you go to get a job, do they sign? They make you sign a contract. They make you sign a hiring agreement. Yeah, you get hired on the slavery. Yeah, they want you to sign your name on a dotted line. They give you an offer letter. You sign that offer letter. What are you signing to? You are agreeing to work for this company for X amount of dollars. That's an oath, huh? You go to get an apartment. You sign a lease agreement. Signing a lease agreement for a year. You put your name on that dotted line. You are giving power to that document, the words in that document. You understand? Sister Kapatnas, I said when you go to court, you take an oath. Absolutely. When you go to court, they ask you if you're going to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. You say, I will. You've taken an oath. You understand? And Barack Obama said, join in the gang. You join a gang, you commit yourself to being down with this gang, to ride or to die. Right? Blood in, blood out. You join that gang and you have to, guess what? There's you don't take an oath in a gang. Usually you got to do something to prove your worthiness, prove your loyalty. Well, guess what? You take all of those things and just think about the power and the weight that comes with your word. The power and the weight that comes with you taking an oath. Committing to something is not a small thing. Now, come on into the truth. Let's look at the way the Lord established us to be. Everything that you do in life, the Lord requires you to be serious about it. You understand? In the Bible, in the Bible, marriage was not you putting a ring on a woman's finger and walking down an aisle and standing before, the church and confessing your love. In the Bible, marriage was you laying a woman down and putting your penis inside of her, having sex with her. You understand? That act of having sex with a woman was an oath. That act of having sex with a woman said, I'm going to keep her for me forever. That act of having sex with a woman said, I am very serious about this, and there's nothing more serious that I could do than to become one with her. That is an oath. You understand? Everything in life is about taking oaths, keeping your word, and remaining loyal. You understand? And every idle word that a man speaks out of his mouth, he is going to give account of in the day of judgment. Everybody understands. Now let's get Numbers chapter 30, verse 2. Numbers chapter 30, verse 2. All right. right, Numbers chapter 30, verse 2. You got it.
So book of Numbers chapter 30, verse 2. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word.
Everybody understands that. If a man vow a vow with his mouth, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. Everybody understands. What is this vow that a man vows? What is this oath to bind his soul with a bond? What is this talking about? Let's bring it to today's language. This isn't talking about a priest taking an oath. This isn't talking about a priest, taking an oath to serve the Lord. This isn't the oath that you and I took when we became officers in the school. This is just any brother, any man. What is it talking about, Ash?
So if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
If you say you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it. Give me what are some ways that we say we're gonna do something in society today, in the world today?
I say I'm going to pay this rent.
What is okay? How would do you say I'm gonna pay this rent, or is there another way that you express that, or you say that, or you make that promise?
I would say I made a promise.
In what way? How do you make that promise? How does your landlord know that you're going to pay them every month before the 5th?
How he know?
How does he know?
He don't know, but I'm gonna give you my word. Like,
how does he get your word? What does he have to say? I got your word. You gave me your word on this. What does he have to show that? What is the evidence that you gave him your word? Say that. Contract. This vowing a vow is about signing a contract. That's how you make it clear. Right? This Numbers 30 and 2 is about signing a contract. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, that's a contract. That's I promise to do this. If I don't do it, then I'll pay the penalties. I'll suffer the consequences. That's tying your soul, bonding your soul to an oath. Everybody understand? The Lord gave us a law that if you signed a contract, do what you said you were going to do. Why is that important? Why is that necessary for us to understand? Because every day in life, we're offered contracts. Every day in this society, we're offered an opportunity to use our word. Learn to not give your word to anything that you aren't sure of. You understand? Now, of course, how would that help you in the world? It'll help you by not getting into bad contracts. It won't ruin your credit. Sign up for this goddamn car. You know you ain't going to pay this car off. You just say, F it. I'll let my credit run in the ground. I moved to Memphis. Memphis is one of the first places I've encountered people that just lean on filing bankruptcy. Like where I'm from, bankruptcy is like the most horrible thing that can happen in your life. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, I'm down bad. I had to file bankruptcy. In Memphis, that's just how you get by. You just go run up a bunch of credit, not pay nothing back and be like, I'll just go bankrupt. And then 5 years later, I'll be back at square one. I'll build that credit up again. I'll run it up again. And guess what I'll do? I'll go bankrupt again. Damn. That's not the way it's supposed to work. You understand? Maybe if you know you don't have the money, you just don't make an oath. You just don't enter into that agreement. You understand? Here's what we don't know about the power of our words and the power that our oaths have. I don't want to get too heavy into this, but we live in a society where the money system that exists in America is largely built off of your word to pay something, right? The way the bank goes about creating money in this society, in this system we have in place, you have to go to a bank and say, I want to take out a loan for $20,000, right? When you go to the bank and say, I want to take out a loan for $20,000, the bank doesn't actually have $20,000 to give you. But when you make a promise to pay the bank back $20,000, the bank can generate that $20,000 based off of your promise to pay. Your promise to do the work that's necessary to generate $20,000 to pay the bank back is the power that is the force that the bank uses to create that money. And if we understood the power of our words, if we understood the weight that our oaths carry, then we could utilize them to our advantage. But because we live in a society where your word is not your bond and where you can lie and be deceptive and just try to use your words to get over, we now live in a society where no one's word can be trusted. No one's word can be honored. And when no one's word can be trusted and no one's word can be honored, then guess what? You are in a society and in a world where there is no good. There is nothing that you can expect positive from people because the words that they say out of their mouth can't be trusted. You understand? Come on, you gonna say something?
I was just thinking about the word I looked at the meaning, integrity.
Let's read it.
Okay, so, integrity is the quality of being honest, having strong moral principles, and consistently adhering to.
You understand that? That is what now. Okay, let's read the definition of integrity one more time, and then I want you to give me another word that you could put in the place of integrity. Right, a word that we've read in class tonight that equals everything you just said. Read the definition one more time.
Quality of being honest and having strong moral principles.
Integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Read on.
And constantly adhering to them.
And constantly adhering to them. That's the definition of integrity. Give me another word that we could use instead of integrity. Give me a biblical word for integrity. A biblical word for integrity. This is a simple word. It's a word we've read in class already today.
Righteous. I mean, righteous kind of, but not.
Righteous is on it. There's a better one, a more simpler one. There's a simpler one.
Upstanding.
That's not too biblical. Upstanding is good, but not biblical.
Just, man.
Just, okay, you're on it. Give me another word for just, for upstanding, a word we already read today in class. It's a word that's in in the scriptures we just read. There's a word that means, the biblical context of this word means what integrity is. Kapatazar said honorable. I don't know what scripture we read today where we read the word honorable. There is a word that means what the definition of integrity says. It's a biblical word. And if you can understand how these two words, integrity and this other word, relate, then you'll be ahead of the game. Everybody understand? Let's go back to Matthew chapter 12. Let's go back to Matthew chapter 12 and verse 35. All right. One more time, Osh, read the definition of integrity.
The quality of being honest, having strong moral principles, and consistently adhering to them.
Everybody understand that? Matthew 12 and 35 says, a good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things. Good is the word that means what integrity is. You understand? When we talk about a good man, what kind of man are we talking about? A man of integrity. A man that is honest, a man that has good moral principles and constantly adheres to them. That's what it means to be good. I started the class off, I asked, what does it mean to be good? Did I ask that question? Because good is one of those words that we don't even really know the meaning. Let's look at the definition of good in the dictionary. Good is a word that's thrown around very loosely. Talk about a four-letter word that gets used loosely. It ain't love. It's good. You understand? And again, these words carried weight in such a way that people had to be careful how they used them. I'm going to show you an example of that in this next scripture. Read a definition of good.
Second one, having qualities required for a particular role.
That ain't really, what the fuck does that mean? Excuse my language. What is that telling me? Having qualities required for a specific role. So that means good can mean anything. If I need if I need somebody to, get in the dirt and run, get in the dirt and dig a ditch for me. If you got a strong back and got a big shovel, and he's a good ditch digger, okay. You know what I'm saying? If I needed a woman, if I'm throwing a party, I need somebody to serve, hors d'oeuvres. I need a woman that's, nice and shapely, wears the right kind of clothes. She could be good for that. Good can mean anything, basically. But addiction, if you want to understand what good means in the biblical context, look up the definition of the word integrity. Someone who has integrity is someone that is good. Everybody understands? And you cannot be good if you don't have integrity. All right? Now, when I tell you that in the Bible, the power of words is absolutely emphasized, let's go to an example when a brother was called good. Somebody told a brother, hey, good brother. And that brother had to say, hold up now, be careful what you're saying. You would think that somebody calling you a good brother would be acceptable, would be an honorable thing. Let's get Matthew chapter 19, verse 16. Get Matthew 19 and 16. All right. Words hold weight. You understand? And the weight of your words is something that is always being emphasized. All right. Barack, you got it.
Matthew.
I called it. Get Matthew chapter 19.
Verse 16.
16.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 16. And behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good things shall I do that I may have eternal life?
You understand? Brother came up and asked Christ. He addressed Christ and said, Good master, what things must I do if I want to, what good things shall I do that I may have eternal life? Read on.
And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good?
Christ said, hold up, man, why you calling me good? Huh? Why you calling me good? You don't even know me like that. You don't know me to say that I'm good. You understand? What was the offense in this brother calling him good master? You understand? Because calling somebody good meant something, man. It meant, a lot to be recognized as a good man, a good master. Christ was saying, hold up, brother. Hey, be careful what you're saying. Don't give me too much praise. Hold up now. You don't try to blow smoke up my ass. Excuse my language. Don't be trying to, puff me up. Christ took it offensive. Hold up now. Why you calling me good, huh? Don't call me good. Why wouldn't you want to be called good? Because you're someone that's careful about the power that words have. Careful about, again, out of the abundance of the heart speaketh a person, right? This brother calling Christ good master because he got Christ up on the pedestal. He got Christ up high, man. This is good master. Some Christ like, hold up, don't put me up there. Why you calling me good, huh? Let's keep reading.
There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments.
When Christ told that brother, there is none good but God. What is that? Why did Christ say that? Why did Christ make sure he established there is none good but God? Barack.
So he won't take the credit.
Yes. Now, by not taking the credit, what were these words that he spoke? What was Christ making sure he was careful of by saying there is none good but God? Christ earlier in the 12th chapter said what? Every word that a man speak of, he's going to get an account of in the day of judgment. Right? Christ said there are words by which you'll be justified and words by which you'll be condemned. Christ saying there is none good but the Most High. Those are words by which you'll be justified. You understand what I'm saying? On the day of judgment, those words that Christ spoke, that was good you said that out. It was good that you didn't take credit for being a good master.
Right.
It was good you didn't let a brother puff you up and big you up as though you were something special. Why? There's nobody good but the Lord. I forget that. We have to learn that as men. You in the truth, you serving the Lord, you still have to make sure that I'm not special. The Lord is special. You understand? In the world, they call it being modest. In the truth, we're not modest. We're humble. You understand? What does it mean to be humble? The easiest, matter of fact, let's look up the definition of humility, Ash. Let's get humility. Because humility is something that is absolutely required if you are going to become someone who is seasoned with their words, who is careful about the things that they say. You understand? You got it? Hold on. Barack, you was going to say something?
I want to ask a question.
Come on with it.
Is it the same as when Christ said meek?
No. Humility and meek is not the same.
It's not.
Meek is powerless.
Okay.
Right? The meek are the people who have no power.
Okay.
Meek is powerless in the sense of changing things.
Right.
Right? So the meek shall inherit the earth. The people who have no power
Right.
over the earth today, they are the meek.
Gotcha.
Who are the people who have no power? The people who don't have a government.
Right.
People who don't have a representation to pass laws and to, fight against our enemies. We're the meek. That's not the same as being humble.
Right.
You understand?
Go.
Come on with it, Ash.
Definition of humility: a modest or low view of one's own importance.
Pause. Right? A modest or low view of one's importance. That's humility. Modest is like having the bar low, right? You're modest in your apparel. A woman that ain't trying to be seen. She ain't trying to show out. She ain't got on a big flowy, colorful dress. She's dressed modestly. She's just trying to blend in, right? A modest brother is a brother who ain't trying to puff his chest out or be seen as somebody. I'm just another brother. Like, I'm just here. I'm one of y'all. That's modest, right? And having a low view of their importance is not saying I ain't shit, right? That's not humility. I ain't nothing. I ain't shit. That's not humble. But humble is I'm not special. God is special.
Right.
Like humility is giving credit to someone else. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Humility is honoring and recognizing other people for their role in things that you may be recognized for. Everybody understands? Barack.
So, all right. In your mind, you know that you have this power,
Mm-hmm.
but is it okay to be like, okay, I know I have this power, but I wouldn't have the power if it wasn't for the Most High?
It's absolutely,
Is that still
it's absolutely, that's necessary because a lot of brothers don't have that power.
Right.
Like humility is it's a skill.
Right.
It's a gift. It's something you have to acquire. Not everybody's born with humility. You understand? Humility is you fighting your ego. There's something inside of you that tells you the shit.
Right.
Here's why humility is important in the truth, right? Because in order to be in the truth, you have to have something inside of you that tells you you're special.
Right.
That tells you you're amazing. You would not be in the truth if you didn't have something inside of you that says, I'm a chosen of God. The Lord talks to me and is with me and wants to use me. You have to have a certain level of, I'm better than a regular nigga. God, in my life, I've seen how God has worked in my life. I must be special. That the Lord has done all these wonderful things for me, right? You have to have that to be in the truth. You can't be just some bum ass crash out nigga and come into the truth. Because you would just be a bum ass and crash out. If you didn't have that thing inside of you that told you were special, why would you come serve the Lord? Why would it matter? My life isn't important. I don't matter. I'll just go get high and die.
Right.
That's someone who doesn't have the Spirit of the Lord, right? To have the Spirit of the Lord, you have to have something that tells you you're special.
Right.
God is dealing with you. The Lord wants you to be better. But to keep that thing in check, you got to also have humility, which says, but I'm not special because I'm special. I'm only special because the Lord chose. Like this specialness ain't because I worked out every day or did push-ups when I was 12 years old. I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to serve God. The Lord ruined my life so that I would come serve him. Nothing in my life ever worked out. If I was so great and amazing, I wouldn't have needed God. So, like, I'm trying to get you to understand that all of us have something inside of us that tells us we're special.
Right.
That's why we come to serve the Lord, right? What you have to learn and gain is the thing that also tells you, but you're not special because of your power. You're special because of the Lord's power.
Right.
And to acknowledge that and say that takes humility. It takes a awareness that I got to make sure that I'm careful to not take credit for what the Lord did.
Right.
I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to go serve the Lord. No, the Lord ruined my life and made me depressed in my mind.
Right.
Till I gave up one day and said, okay, I'm not going to fight no more. God, whatever you want, just show me what you want me to do.
Right, right.
It's clearly my way not working.
Right.
Right? So as you grow in life, if that's your experience, as you grow in life and God raises you up and makes you better and puts you on a platform and puts you before people to speak, they're going to say, man, you're amazing. You're great. You got to say to them, I am not amazing. I am not great. God is amazing. God is great. That takes humility. You understand what I'm saying? And humility is absolutely necessary for you to be in the truth. Everybody understand? Come on with it.
What you just made me think of, is it the same as, like, you know, when we come into the truth? I know it's been many years for you, but you know, when brothers come in, they learn the knowledge and they say, well, when we talk to people out in the world, you know how they do something to you and then make you feel like, well, I know more about the truth than you. So I'm kind of on you for, you know, but we know it only because we in here.
Say it one more time.
Okay, so I'm asking, like, is it what you're saying is, like, when we first come into the truth, you know, a lot of us come in here and we first learn the knowledge. All the things that we know, like the black scriptures, the Israelite will be saved, all the things about the scriptures.
Yeah.
And then we know more than the people out in the world.
Yeah.
So we kind of feel like I'm the shit.
That's okay. That's the thing that you need coming into the truth. So this is what happens for everybody when you come into the truth.
Right.
When you come into the truth, you begin to learn. And the Lord, the part of you that wants to serve the Lord becomes awake. Right? It starts to wake up and it starts to get fed. It starts to get stronger. And it's excited and proud and happy. This thing you're learning, you want to share it with everybody. Right?
Right. What
happens, though, is you think you're going to share it and everybody's going to love it. You think you're going to take what you're learning and tell everybody, they're going to be like, man, for real, damn, that's crazy. Let me follow you to learn more.
Right.
What happens, though, is you go tell people what you're learning and they say, man, shut up. You crazy. The Bible don't say that. Nigga, you just drunk, nigga. You smoking extra weed and you get offended. You get offended when they don't hear you. You like, what's wrong with you niggas? Why aren't you hearing what nigga, don't you know I'm telling you the truth? Look, the Bible said you go pull the Bible out. Niggas, you would have never pulled the Bible out. When you go pull the Bible out, and they like, man, shut up, nigga. Get away from me, man. You ruining all the fun. And you get mad like you dumbass. You just want to die dumb, don't you? You want to die in that Christian church. It's the zeal of the Lord that make you blaze on everybody. But then you turn around and realize everybody's gone. Because I done blazed on them. I done chased everybody away.
Thanks,
then what happens is when you end up by yourself, what you learn is that ain't what the Lord wanted you to do. Nobody gave you an order to go blaze on everybody or go yell to the earth about the Jews are black.
Right.
Then you learn, okay, the people that rejected me, they didn't reject me. They rejected the Lord. Then you learn, oh, okay, this truth, I wasn't learning these things so that I could go and be the man and woke up everybody I know. I learned these things so that I could just serve the Lord. You understand? And the time to teach is going to be when you're told to teach. The time to argue with folks is when you're told to argue with folks.
Right.
That's going to camp. That's teaching class. And what that does is it humbles you. Because when you try to go out on your own and teach everybody, you try to teach your family, right?
Right.
Everybody told you, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Nobody want to hear that. And it discouraged you because you're like, damn, why won't they hear it? You thought it was personal. They wasn't not hearing it because it came from you. They wouldn't have heard it coming from me. They didn't want to hear it because they just don't want to hear it. which means what? Their issue ain't with you. Their issue is with God. And when you realize that it don't matter how much you know, there's just some people that aren't going to want to hear it, then you accept that this teaching is about the Lord's business. Like right now, I'm here down here in Memphis, right? It's us in this room. For years, it's been us in this room. I can't feel like, damn, I ain't teaching good enough. That's why brothers ain't coming to the truth. I ain't teaching. These classes don't be righteous enough. Nigga, I'm not in control of how well people receive the truth. The Lord is in control of when brothers come in here. Now, if I wasn't teaching class, if I wasn't here doing this, if we weren't in this room, then I could say I'm not doing enough. I'm not working enough. But if the fact that I'm doing it and ain't nobody coming, I can't be like, damn, I got to get these classes more popping. Nah, it's the Lord's business. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So, like, because it's the Lord's business and the Lord's work, I could never take credit for what the Lord does. Right. All the time I go places and brothers and sisters tell me, man, Cap, I used to watch your classes, man. That law class you used to teach was powerful, sir, and I learned this and that. I would be a liar if I said, man, thank you, Aki. I used to work hard on them classes, man. Yeah, you know, I was really trying to make y'all learn back then. I have no choice but to say, I have no choice but to say, man, that was the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like all them classes I used to teach. Because I know for a fact, I used to arrive at the school in Philly, sit down at the podium and be like, what am I going to teach tonight? And then the topic would come in my mind. I'd put in the topic and then start the class. Some of those classes, half the classes used to be based off of questions brothers was asking. It ain't like I had some lengthy. Now, I did have breakdowns prepared. I did have scriptures ready. But a lot of it, it's not like I could go and be like, yeah, well, you know, I did do that. I did teach a hell of a class. No, right. That was the Lord. I can't take no credit for that. You understand what I'm saying? That's, you learn humility. The Lord forces you to be humble. Because if you take credit for what the Lord did, you're an evil bastard. You understand? Come on with it.
So if I could be clear, so that feeling that we have when we first come to the truth and we know the knowledge more than the people in the world, that's not a bad thing to feel. Like you said, we need that thing, but it's just we don't want to overuse that thing, I guess. Okay, or like make them feel shitty. Because like you said, we weren't supposed to blaze on them, although we know the knowledge. But I mean, you know, like when you first come in, you feel like I'm the shit because I know this.
It's not that you weren't supposed to do it, right? Tell us, sir. It's not that you were wrong for doing it. You did what your zeal told you to do. Right. You had to do it to learn the lesson that you ain't in control of this. You understand what I'm saying? So I would never discourage a brother to not go home and teach his family. I would never discourage a brother. Don't go home and telling your cousins about the truth. He has to do it. He has to go tell everybody because it's like the scripture in Jeremiah, right? When the Lord gave Jeremiah his word, Jeremiah had to go teach because the word of the Lord was in him like fire in his bones. It was burning. Everybody, when you come into the truth, the Lord's word is in you like fire. You got to tell somebody. Right. You're going to tell everybody. And then the people you tell are going to say, you crazy as shit. Nigga, you, whatever, I hear you. You on some goofy Bible cult. And then you're going to be like, damn, bro, but it's the people you love the most. Like, this changed my life. Right. And they're going to be like, man, that nigga stopped smoking weed. He don't really mess with the hoes no more. This nigga weird. And you're going to be like, weird? Nigga, I'm trying to save my life. You have to have that rejection in order for it to sink into you that, damn, this is not about me. This is about the Lord. Their rejection is not them rejecting me. It's them rejecting the Lord. Right. And you got to accept that. No matter what you do, it's not you that's going to make them receive it. It's whether or not the Lord lets them receive it. You understand what I'm saying? I've been in the truth for 15 years. I've been teaching. Everybody that I know knows that I'm serious about this. Everybody that I know knows that he really be about that life. He teaching and in the Bible. He know everything. They've known me for 15 years being in the truth. They'll never ask me a question about the Bible. I got family members that's in hell right now, going through horrible situations. You know who they'll never call to get help? Me. They'll never call and say, yo, cuz I'm going through it, man. I'm jammed up. Can you help me? give me a good word. You know what my cousins, you know what my folks would rather do? They rather go to church. They rather listen to, not TD Jakes, worse than that. I have a cousin that listened to, excuse my language, he was listening to Polite. He was listening to Polite and listening to like Umar Johnson. And I'm like, nigga, they're goofy. Why are you listening
Right.
Why would you listen to them when your cousin is in the truth and be teaching and speaking? You see my speakings. Be blazing. Tell my mother, yeah, I saw his little tape. That was nice, man. He was speaking something real powerful. And then out the next breath, be like, yeah, because Polite said. And then I got to hear from my mother, yeah, your cousin be listening to so-and-so. I'll be like, man, what? That nigga's crazy. Why won't he just, I don't know. Like, I can't be mad at them no more because it ain't about me. It ain't about me and how my cousins feel about me. It's about them rejecting God. And in some crazy way, the Lord wanted them to reject him. That's why he chose me. The Lord could have gave the truth to any of my family. Maybe he chose me because he knew that if I was the one bringing it, everybody would say, hell no, man, I'm not following that nigga. Fuck that shit. You be wondering why not you. The Lord chose you because he didn't want them to get it. We don't ever think that. We don't ever think that the Lord gave me the truth because he knew how much it would turn other people off. If it was my other cousin that got the truth, everybody would have followed him. Everybody would have been happy to do what he said, to be listening to him. But because it was me, he always been smart, think he know everything. He always trying to tell somebody something. That hatred is the reason why they'll never hear the truth. I can't, that's the Lord's business. I can't be mad at it. I can't take no credit for it. But damn, though, like, it's rough. You understand what I'm saying? Come on with it, Barack.
So is it like fleshly they are looking at you for who you used to be, but spiritually is Lord?
No.
I mean, because I'm saying, like, people always look at you and be like, I remember this nigga used to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you teach the truth, they don't want to hear it because of who you used to be.
Boom. So now we talking something heavy, right? And this is what you got to understand. It is them rejecting the Lord because you aren't the nigga that you was.
Right.
This brother sitting here today is not the nigga that used to get high with his cousins. Not the nigga that used to run trains on bitches or rob niggas or shoot niggas. You're Barack Kamal.
Right.
My family refused to call me Soccer War. They still call me Kevin, and I hate. It burns in me every time somebody that is known for 15 years and I'm Soccer War calls me Kevin. It shit burns inside of me, right? But I'm tired of arguing and fighting. I can't force nobody to respect me, right? I know for a fact they still call me Kevin because it's a demon inside of them refusing to acknowledge Soccer War. It's a demon that won't acknowledge Soccer War. Because if the demon acknowledges Soccer War, then the demon has to acknowledge that this nigga changed. This nigga's better. This nigga's different. He ain't my little cousin. He ain't my nephew no more. That's a priest of God. The demon won't let them recognize that. So it's spiritual. They won't acknowledge the Lord. Because if they acknowledge the Lord, they got to acknowledge that he changed me. Demon won't let them acknowledge that the Lord did anything. Because if the demon acknowledges the Lord did anything, now maybe he'll change me too. You understand what I'm saying? I will always be Kevin because if they acknowledge Soccer War, then they're acknowledging God.
Right.
And a demon can't let them acknowledge God. Do you understand what I'm saying? So your cousins, it's not you. It's the demon inside of them that won't acknowledge God. You understand? I know for a fact that particularly with my folks, Satan is in them, refusing to let them acknowledge the man that I am today. Which and this what burns me so much is that by them still using my slave name, that means they still only see that little kid, that little boy. And that shit, hey, I'm not that nigga, dog. I'm so much better. I've put in so much work to be the man I am now. You stop calling me that. But I don't say it. I don't say it because I won't give the demon the glory. I won't give the demon the... Because that's what I know what happened. If I said to them, man, why y'all keep calling me by my slave name? They're going to laugh. They're gonna clown me, and that is gonna be worse than the anger that I get from being called by my slave name. So I just stomach my slave name. I stomach it. I accept that they're gonna call me by my slave name, maybe forever. It's cool though. It's all right. It's no sweat. Because I know that there's among this family, there's some who have seen me change and they want to talk about it. They want to ask about it. But they're afraid because they saw how the rest of the family talked about me. They don't want to be the next one. And they know in my family, they all know how bad they talked about me. Then it was my mother coming in. And they know how bad they talked about her. Then it was Yagawa. And they know how bad they talked about Yagawa. And they don't want to be the next one to fall in line because god damn, the family gonna talk bad about me.
Right.
That's what's some of them. That's what's stopping them. Is that the rest of these niggas gonna clown me? No sweat. It's okay. So I'll be around my family and I'll stomach it. It's been years since I gathered with my family. We're supposed to be gathering together in July. First time in like 15 years we've all gotten together. But we're gonna do it. Because I missed my family. I missed all the new additions and little cousins, everybody grown up. I want to see them, but I've got to strengthen myself spiritually for the satanic attack that I'm going to be under that whole time.
Right.
You understand? Because I know I'm going to be tempted. Like, meaning I'm going there to be tempted.
Right.
I'm going there to look at Satan in his eyes in every one of my cousins that's going to just keep trying to little bro me and just
you all.
And I have to gear myself up to not. I'm not gonna be the one to break protocol. Meaning somebody gonna break, right? I mean, somebody gonna get out of line. It ain't gonna be me.
Right.
I'm going to defend the truth, but I'm not gonna be the one to start it. And I know somebody is right now the same way I'm gearing up. I know somebody is there like, wait till we pull these crabs out.
Right.
Oh, wait till I'm gonna bite into that hot dog right in front of them. Somebody is preparing to do something diabolically evil. And they gonna wait for me or your Yagawa or my mother to snap. And I'm gonna huddle up with my mother and Yagawa before this family gathering and say, listen, we're gonna maintain our discipline.
That's right.
We're gonna be focused and we're gonna be just good family members. And we're gonna see who Satan gonna use. And when the time comes, I'll handle it. But we're gonna be on. Like we're going into the fire. We're going into the midst of the lion's den, and we're gonna see who try to bite first.
Right.
And if they do, off of their head, I'm gonna be like Peter. Peter on the ear, goddamn. I'm waiting for somebody to get out of line. But it's okay. Coming into the truth, you're gonna try to give the truth to everybody, and you're gonna be rejected, so that Christ's words in Matthew the 10th chapter could be fulfilled when he said, I am not come to send peace on earth but a sword. And I've come to divide families from one another. That division has to happen. Everybody in their life have to experience it. If you come into the truth and you don't lose nobody, you ain't coming to the truth. You coming to the truth and nobody stops wanting to be around you, you ain't changed. You still that same nigga you was, still that same woman. Being in the truth makes you uncomfortable. Being in the truth makes people uncomfortable because of what being in the truth represents. Being in the truth represents you don't have to be a piece of shit your whole life. You don't have to continue being a victim of your childhood. You could be better than your circumstances or your surroundings. Those of us who change our lives, to everybody who knows us, damn, that nigga really did it. Damn, he actually stopped smoking weed. Like, he stopped. He don't even be crazy with the outbursts no more. He be chilling. He be quiet. He ain't be trying to gamble and fight no more. If they acknowledge that you changed, then the next question is, well, why am I still fucked up? They can't face that. It's too much for them to overcome, so they'll just look at you like you crazy. Look at you like you ain't Barack Obama. You just Johnny that went crazy.
Right.
I'm that soccer war. I'm me that just got crazy and this. One time somebody said something in my family. It was like, grandma and granddaddy turning in their grave. And it made me so mad because I know for a fact that my grandparents wanted nothing more than this right now. They wanted nothing more than for somebody to serve God. Somebody in this family that we taught and raised to fear God, just do what he said to do. Right. And for me to be the one that started to do it and to tell everybody about it, for a nigga to say I'm dishonoring them was like, nigga, what? I'm wicked for serving God. You out of your fucking mind. You can't be serious. But here's what I know now, having grown in the truth and matured, like Christ said, every idle word that you speak out your mouth, you're going to have to give account of in the day of judgment. And woe unto them. I pray, Lord, have mercy on them. They didn't know what they was doing. They didn't know what they was saying, man. They, be merciful. I understand Christ when he was on the cross. I can't say I understand Christ on the cross, but I understand the sentiment of forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Like they don't know that they don't know that this thing here is the realest thing in life. This is what life is about: serving God, obeying Him, not chasing money, not chasing cars, not trying to do it big. I got family members that still trying to live that good life we always raised to think exists. There ain't no good life without serving God. There is no success without obeying the Lord. You may could get some money and have it, you'll lose it all in one day. You'll spend 20 years stacking money, stacking up dollar bills and stacking up all your money, and you'll lose it. You'll lose it and not know what happened. And the answer to what happened is you never committed your life to God. But how can you convince somebody to commit their life to God when they got money in the bank? They doing it big. You broke. You living, you know what I'm saying? You live with your woman. You ain't got a car. You ride in a van with niggas going up and down the highway every weekend. That shit I heard from my family. While I was doing the work of the Lord, nigga, you ain't got no money. You broke. Nigga, your mama, this and that. And it's like, nigga, you don't even understand how wonderful my life is. And you don't even know what I sacrificed to be here. You looking at dollars in the bank, nigga, that shit don't mean nothing to me. But how you had an argument with somebody who can't see spiritual things?
Right, definitely.
Salaki, go ahead.
Salaki, if I could, so I wanted to ask two things about Christ, right? So Christ said that the foxes have holes, etc., but he don't have no place to stay. So was Christ a poor man?
Yes.
But his father was, they had a band, right, when they went to Egypt, which was like people along with them?
No, don't think that.
What was it like? Were they traveling,
carpooling? Yes, that was the neighborhood carpool.
Okay, so they went with people to Egypt. Christ was a poor man. So my question is like more so, what made him so heavy to where niggas would follow him? If he poor, because I know today people say, well, nobody listens to the poor man because you ain't got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure it was the same back then.
It was the miracles. Christ was healing niggas. Okay. Christ was doing powerful things. They did not follow Christ because of his words. They followed Christ because of his miracles. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? Come on with it.
And so other people was thinking that was, because we read yesterday, they thought that was of Satan.
No, okay, the men who refuse to acknowledge him, just like we talking about family, right? Cousins. There are some people who, okay, we go out on the street and teach. Right. There are people who see us and say, them niggas is evil. They in a cult. They hate God. How the fuck could you skill my language? How could you say we hate God? We teaching the truth. They don't know what we're doing. They don't understand what they're seeing. So they immediately, the demon inside of them says, they crazy, they hate God. Them saying we're crazy and hate God isn't based on anything factual. It isn't based on them watching us, listening to us, investigating us. It's just, it's called, Esau calls it, it's when you see something and you reject it. Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is what happens when people encounter the truth.
Right.
They see something, they hear something, but their mind refuses to allow them to accept it or acknowledge it. Somebody walk by and see 666 on Caesar Borgia, right? Mm-hmm. Their mind says, why did he put 666 on Jesus?
Right,
they won't ask, though, because they don't want to know. It's too much work to have to understand why 666 is on Jesus. Okay. If they would have asked, why'd y'all put 666 on Jesus? We're going to teach them that's not Jesus. That white man is Caesar Borgia, the second son of Pope Alexander VI of Rome. He was a homosexual and the lover of Leonardo da Vinci, and he painted. Now they got to unlearn that Jesus ain't white. You mean this white guy I've been bowing to for the 20 years of my life ain't Jesus? It's too much work. I got bills due, man. I got a wife that's cheating on me. I'm out with my side chick right now. I got to sit here and try to learn about the real Jesus? Nah, nigga, too much. Y'all crazy, man. It's too much work to have to unpack everything. A matter of fact, I'll give you the scripture that explains it. We can go to it now. Give me old new wine in old bottles. New wine, old bottles. And keep that other question you had, all right?
Come on, sir.
Give Matthew chapter 9, verse 17.
Matthew chapter 9, verse 17. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break.
You understand? If you want to understand cognitive dissonance, this is the scripture, right? You cannot put new wine into old bottles. What is an old bottle? An old bottle is a vessel that's been used already. It's been filled up, it's contained something, and it's been expanded as much as it can expand, right? Being black in America, growing up and having to conform to the societal standards and norms that our oppressor has, learning to talk and code switch and to be professional and wear a suit and style your hair like this and talk like that and go to the job every day and rinse, wash, repeat, this way of life that they've established. For someone to have to unlearn all of that and now learn that I should grow my hair out, I should have a beard, I should wear boots, I should get braids in my hair, I should take this suit and tie off, I should talk like a black man, I should put bass in my voice, and I could have more than one wife, and I ain't got to go cheating by whores and sneak behind my woman back. That nigga will break under that pressure. He's poured too much of himself into fitting in to America standards. He's poured too much of himself into being what the white man taught him to be. To have to pour out the white man's wine, to pour out the way that he's adapted himself to be, to fit in this society, and now get filled up with the truth and learn what the truth needs him to be, he'll break under that pressure. So because he's full of old wine, you can't pour that old wine out and fill it up with new wine because the bottle will break. You understand? It's too much for some people to go through that transformation.
Right.
You understand? So Christ is saying, neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. You want to know what made it easier for some of us to come into the truth? We never fit into the white man's world. We never fit in with these square ass niggas. We never was able to conform ourselves and to be just good boys. We always was rebellious. We always was questioning shit in church. We didn't go to church and just beat the tambourine and sang all the good songs and be the best Christian we could be. Something about that Christian shit was soft, man. Y'all niggas is weak. Or you asking questions that they can't answer, then they get mad about the questions, and you like, oh man, y'all niggas ain't really with the Lord.
Right.
That's our story. That's who we were. So we never really got full of that old wine, which made it easier for that to be poured out, and now we get filled with the new wine. You understand? But you can't put new wine into old bottles. That's just what it is. You had another question?
Come on, sir. But I was trying to also relate it unto the day, right? So I know there were different sects in Israel. You know, Sadducees, Pharisees, the what's the other guys?
The Essenes. There was a lot of different cats on the scene.
So different, like, okay, so we know Christ had the miracles, but also black people were living under Rome. So that would mean like it would be like today, like in America. Maybe not 40 million, etc. But I'm trying to figure out, like, still, even though, would it be like, were people looking at Christ like he was doing magic? Because that's what niggas would look at it like today. Like, if somebody in the truth, we a sect of Israel. You got the Christians, you got all these different denominations, and then you got Israelites. You start doing miracles. Niggas is gonna look at you like it's weird. It's like you doing magic or something. Or like you got fake people working for you.
That's what it would be like. It would be like, these niggas ain't real. That shit ain't real. Nigga, you believe that nigga just got up and walked? Shit ain't real. It would be, just imagine today if somebody got the power right now.
Right.
It would be on TikTok. It would blow up that some nigga in St. Louis is walking around. Some lady done had, cardiac problems her whole life. Heart been messed up, high blood pressure. This cat came and whispered something in her ear, and then she went to the doctor the next day, and all of her heart disease was gone away. Right. Man, it's fake news.
Right.
Nigga on the street, a nigga been blind his whole life, was born blind. Now he can see. And everybody, the story of this blind man seeing is spreading across the country, all on TikTok and YouTube. There's going to be people saying, man, that shit ain't real. That shit crazy. That's AI.
Right.
That's AI doing that. It was no different back then. It's just
Right, okay.
in your mind it's different because they didn't have technology. They didn't have it. Back then, news of this man doing miraculous things, teaching things that was having all the right answers to all the questions people asked. People heard about it and was like, that shit ain't real. Then they went to see the man, heard him, saw him perform miracles, and because of Satan, they could not acknowledge, damn, this is the man that we've been waiting for. This is the brother we should follow. So they said, that nigga got a demon. That nigga casting out demons using demons. He got power over the demons because he a demon. Shit ain't real. The Lord ain't with that nigga, man. Y'all tripping. You gonna follow that nigga? All right, you gonna die. Watch the Romans come. They gonna kill that nigga. You gonna die too. It's the same thing today. You think there ain't people that hear the truth and go excited to their family or somebody they know to tell them about it, and they say, man, them niggas crazy, man. The government gonna kill them niggas one day. You gonna be one of them. You wildin'. I ain't joining them niggas. And if you too weak to, if your spirit ain't strong enough to break through that, then the Lord never wanted you in here. You understand? And understand this. Understand who Christ was healing. Christ was healing broke people. Christ was healing poor people that nobody ever paid attention to. Nobody ever recognized. So when they got healed, they wasn't even known that you was ever sick. It's like, who are you, nigga? He did what? Man, shit, don't believe that shit. Y'all niggas believe that shit. That shit, y'all niggas tripping. Nigga wasn't never blind. Bro, the whole village say the nigga been blind his whole life. What you talking about? He's seeing that. Nah, man, that shit, them niggas, they crazy.
They were stepping over the guy at the pool.
They were stepping over him. Christ healed him. They don't even know where this nigga came from. Because now he ain't sick no more. He ain't the crippled dude by the pool. He's a nigga that's walking now saying, I got healed, huh? Whatever, nigga. Might try to hear that. Which is why Christ said, don't tell nobody. Because Christ wasn't doing these miracles to get notoriety, get recognized. Christ was doing these miracles so that between him and the person he healed, they knew God was real. The same way for us being in the truth. Between me and the Lord, I know God is real. But if I told somebody in the world my life story, they would look at me and say, you crazy. God ain't do all that, nigga. And you'll be like, okay, why would I even waste my time telling you? You ain't gonna believe it.
Right.
You ain't gonna acknowledge it. Like, that's all of our stories. If somebody in the world was to ask you, why did you come into the truth? And you told them your life story, they would sit and hear everything you said, and they would say, you crazy.
Yeah.
Go see a psychiatrist if you think I'm lying. And you sit with a psychiatrist and you tell them about your life and tell them about you went through and tell them why you in the truth and you believe a man can have more than one wife and the white man is the devil and we shouldn't vote. They're going to hear everything you're saying and they're going to classify you with clinical depression, delusions of grandeur, bipolar disorder with a side of multiple personalities, all type. Because guess what? You can go to the therapist, they're going to call you by your slave name. You're like, bitch, I'm not that. I'm Barack Obama. Oh, that nigga got two personalities. Now it's Barack Obama and his slave name. You can pull the Bible, all the scriptures. They're gonna be like, this nigga's insane. You need to be on medication. Like, I'm not taking that medicine. Oh, now he's really crazy because he won't take the medicine we prescribe.
Right.
That's how the world is.
Okay.
You understand? Come on with it.
So if I could, so Christ's mission wasn't to pull as many people as he could in. I mean, because obviously,
I'll understand this. Christ's mission was to do what the Lord wanted to do. No. Christ's mission was to serve the Lord.
Regardless.
And in serving the Lord had him teach, the Lord had him heal, the Lord had him raise the dead, feed 5,000 with 3 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Christ just lived to serve the Lord. Later in his life, he acknowledged that the next thing the Lord want me to do is to die. When he accepted that this thing I've been doing, serving the Lord, is going to end in my death, he accepted that too. Because it was like, I done did all of this, what I'm going to do? Stop? I done did all these things serving the Lord, I'm going to disappear and go back to being, I gotta see this thing through. For these people's sake. For the sake of all the people who the Lord healed and spoke to and touched. I've got to now go through with what the Lord sent me to do. Now I got to die. So as he's talking to his disciples as they enter in Jerusalem, he's explaining to them all the things that he knows going to have to happen. That's why Peter's like, Christ hadn't been telling them this for months and years. This was something that he understood as they're going into Jerusalem. So he's starting to tell them, I'm not going to make it out this city, y'all. We going here. I know we preparing, but I'm gonna get taken, and I'm gonna get persecuted. They're gonna take me before the judges, and they're gonna condemn me to die, and they're gonna hang me on the cross, and I'm gonna die, lose my life. But the Lord gonna glorify me. The Lord gonna raise me up. Peter, like, man, you talking crazy? What you talking about? That ain't gonna happen to you. We're gonna ride for you, this and that. That's why he was, Peter, be quiet. Get behind me, Satan. You desire the things of man. I'm desiring what's for the Lord. Christ didn't know, and he didn't know when he first came, when he first started teaching that he was going to end up dying. He didn't know that. He learned, he understood it as he was coming into Jerusalem. He had the discernment. I'm not going to make it out this city. This is it for me. Once this the last. These the last days for me, y'all. This is it. He sat down at the Last Supper with the brothers, broke bread with them. He passing the bread and telling them to eat and drink. Remember me. I'm not going to be here long. I got to go. Somebody here going to betray me. But it's okay because the Lord with me. This is part of what has to happen. And they listen to him like, man, he's talking he on some different shit. It's crazy what he's talking about. But everything he said came to pass. You understand what I'm saying? So he was accepting of what the Lord was showing him. And that's what was powerful, because with the gifts he knew he had and the power he knew he had, Satan could have gotten his mind to tell him, save yourself.
Right.
Have your men fight. And he answered all those questions. If you have any questions about Christ and his life and him dying, all the questions you could have are answered in the scriptures. Why didn't they fight? Christ said, if this is my kingdom, my men would fight. Right. Why didn't he run? Christ, you can't flee from what the Lord has designed for you. You can't run from the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Why didn't he do that? Christ did everything. He said everything. He made everybody fully aware of everything that was going to happen and how they would need to be strong and what their mission was going to be next. Christ told the disciples, if you pray in my name, the Lord will send you the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit is going to bring things to your remembrance. The Holy Spirit is going to lead you and guide you and protect you. And what happened after he died? They gathered at the Feast of First Fruits a week later, and they prayed in that little room. And then the Spirit came down and the tongues was in the room, and they all started speaking different languages. It wasn't like Christ died and these niggas had a lot of time to get weak or to think about it. How many days after the Passover did we start the Feast of First Fruits? A week. A week of unleavened bread. Then the Pentecost, the day of Pentecost, was a week after Christ died. Christ died around the time of the Passover. 3 days later, he rose. 4 days later, they was praying in the room and got the gift of tongues. So immediately, everything Christ told them transpired. Then he revealed himself to them. Came in a room, and niggas, Thomas touched him in the side and felt the hole. And it was like, what? This is crazy. For those men that was with him that time, all that happened just like this. Them going into Jerusalem, them getting the gift of tongues, and then brothers and sisters coming into the truth, all that was like a whirlwind.
Right.
It happened immediately, just like that. They didn't have time to think about it, or to ponder it, or to sit and mourn and be sad, or to worry about what was going to happen. Everything happened just like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but if it was to happen today, it would be the same as it was back then. There would be a ton of people that believe it would be true. And the world would be like, look at these crazy niggas. Right. These crazy niggas and Hispanics, they out of their mind. Because that's the only people that's going to be flocking to this man for healing. People that ain't got no health care. The people who ain't got no insurance. People who ain't, who the hospital shutting down, won't serve them. It's going to be a brother that's going to come heal your diabetes. It's going to come heal your, ulcers, or your little DJ Paul arm. Going to make it strong. And people going to be like, man, that nigga ain't that. It's magic. It's fake. It's AI.
Gotcha.
That's what they're going to say. Everybody understands? Come on with it.
So Christ was literally not attached to anything in this world, because the first thing I think about is how much you will lose, like, once you die.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got family, you got things that you want, you got things that you have. Christ must have had nothing. He doesn't care about nothing, I'll say.
Don't think that. He had the same cares that you got. It's just the Lord was first. Christ had a mother. His mother was dead when he was on the cross.
Right.
But his mother wasn't in the truth, though. You understand what I'm saying? Gotcha. He loved his mother. His mother was there. He loved her. She wasn't in the truth, though. He out there speaking. She's trying to interrupt the speaking. Out there with his brothers, like, I need to talk to my son. That's my boy over there. Get my boy. And the disciples was like, your moms and your brothers over here. He talking to the crowd. Who's my mother and my brother? But those who do the will of my Father. Meaning what? My mother and my brothers aren't doing the will of the Father. They aren't obeying God. They ain't keeping these laws. I'm not going to stop speaking for them because these words are for y'all.
Right.
Christ had a mother in the world. You understand what I'm saying? Come on with it.
So, okay, I'm trying to, I guess, simplify. So, if we was to put it down to somebody that's dealing with today,
Think of yourself.
Christ didn't have a job, did he?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't have a slave.
He just did the truth, and that was it.
That was it. Christ
How
got.
did he survive
Okay, how does anybody survive?
with the brothers?
The brotherhood. Christ had brotherhood. That's all he needed was brotherhood. Everything that Christ taught that the birds in the sky don't give a thought about what they're going to wear or what they're going to eat,
Right.
but they eat every day. And they get sticks and they housed.
Right.
If the Lord provide for them, wouldn't he provide for you? You understand now? What does it take for a brother to lean on for a man or a woman to lean on the brotherhood like Christ did? What's required? For you to say, F this job, F this slavery, I'm going to commit myself fully to the truth. What does it take?
Well, I can be there every day. I don't know.
What do you have to have in order to be there every day? What do you have to be okay living and not having a house, not having your own place, not even having your own money? What do you have to have?
You gotta depend on the brothers in school.
What does it take to depend on the brothers, sis? Gotta say it one more time. You have to have faith. Get a sister hand. You have to have faith and discipline. You have to have faith to quit your job and say, the Lord gonna take care of me. I don't know how, but the Lord gonna take care of me. I'll tell you this, right? All these men the men that were in the truth when I came in the truth have tremendous faith because they did it. Captain Marquard left Chicago, moved to Philadelphia to live in a room in a house that the school had and did not have a job when he left. He left home. He left his family, left his wife, his kids, came and moved to Philly and was just living in Philly. And you ask him, why did you do that? He said, I want to learn how to be a man of God. I wanted to learn from these men so that I could go back to Chicago and help these brothers. And I lived there with my quad in Chicago, in Philly for 3 or 4 years. And he had tremendous faith, tremendous discipline, because it was not an easy thing. Not only was it not an easy thing to give up everything, but the living conditions wasn't easy.
Right.
There was brothers you never know. You didn't know. They, men have different opinions about things, have disagreements. I saw Captain Marquard do some absolute soldier shit that I could not have done. And he stayed in Philly for about 4 or 5 years. And then one day out of nowhere, he just went back to Chicago. Went back, didn't have a job waiting for him. Didn't have a place waiting for him. He went and stayed in the shelter. Lived in a shelter in Chicago for 6 months and then got a job, got back on his feet. And then before you know it, there's schools in Chicago and a school in Indianapolis and a school in Detroit and a school in Minnesota. How did that happen? That brother had faith. He had faith that if he just did what the Lord said to do, everything else would be taken care of. I came in the truth and left behind an electrical career. I came in the truth and I could have fought to keep my career. I got counsel from General Muhammad. He said, you come to serve the Lord, the truth is going to take care of you. The truth is going to pay your bills, and whatever you want, you're going to have it if you just serve the Lord. And I came in the truth, and I said, fuck that job. And then I met a sister who I met her on the internet, and she talked about how she was a nurse and had money, and I would never have to work. All she just wanted to do was help me be the man of the Lord and work in the truth. And I got with that sister, and I didn't slave for 10 years. Didn't I slave for 10 years while I was with that broad? No, I can't say 10, like 7 years. Now, I went through a lot of other shit, but I went through a ton of shit. That was my job. That woman was my job, right? But, okay, General Muhammad is a man of God because the truth took care of me. That woman got with me because I was in the truth. And I got with her, and I never had to slave. I was I was at every camp, at every event, every Passover. Everything was taken care of because I was serving the Lord, and it lasted until, you know, like it took faith to do that. It took faith to just say, if you knew me and how I was raised, the idea that I would accept living under a woman,
Right.
living with a woman, and she pay all the bills is the old me would never have done
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
It took being soccer war to accept that I ain't got a slave. I ain't got to worry about this. All I got to do is manage this money, make sure I'm taking care of these bills and being responsible with this money. And I did that. And then because of it, I was able to teach class. I was at the school in Philly every day.
Right.
I didn't. The scriptures talks about. I'm gonna get the scripture for you right now. It's a scripture that talks about your role being in the truth. All right. Um, give me. Give me. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Yes. Um, all right, let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 21. Matter of fact, 1 Corinthians 7 and 20.
You said 1 Corinthians.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 20.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 20. Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called.
Let every man abide, meaning live, in the same calling wherein he was called. So wherever you were called, let every man live in that, right? What is it talking about? Keep reading.
Art thou called being a servant? Care not for it. But if thou mayest be made free, use it rather.
Art thou called being a servant, meaning what? Did you come into the truth and you were a servant? Care not for it, meaning what? Don't care for your slavery, for your servitude. But if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. Meaning what? If your slavery of your servitude can be if you can be free from it, or if it make you free, use it. Meaning what? If you were a slave, if you had a slavery when you come into the truth, if that slavery allows you to keep a roof over your head and clothes on your back and food on the table, use that slavery.
Right.
Keep it if it makes you free. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 22. For he that is called in the Lord, being a servant, is the Lord's freeman.
For he that is called in the Lord, being a servant, is the Lord's freeman. Meaning what? You got a slavery, right? Slavery, you work 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. Okay, you got a slavery. I can't expect you to be here at the school and you got your, you know what I'm saying? Got your slavery, right? So if your slavery stop you from doing things in the Lord, that's cool. You could come in here and be free. You ain't got to come in here and worry about slavery. You ain't got to come in here and worry about, damn, I'm going to miss my job or I'm going to miss out on some money. Nah, you come in here and be free. You come in here and your burdens are lightened. Your burdens are lessened. You understand? Keep reading.
Likewise, also he that is called, being free, is Christ's servant.
Likewise, also he that is called being free is Christ's servant. Now you come in here and you don't got a slavery. You gonna come working here. You ain't got a slavery. I expect you here every day, holding shamar, teaching class, hanging pictures up in the priest office, cleaning the school, making sure we got the things that we need. That's your role. You understand?
Right.
Keep reading.
Verse 23. Ye are bought with a price. Be not ye the servants of men.
You are bought with a price. Be ye not the servants of men. You got a slavery, that's your slavery, y'all. But outside of that, you should be free. You should be free to serve the Lord. You understand?
Right.
That's why down here, as long as brothers have had slaveries, I understand. Got a slavery. I'm not going to expect if I know what it's like to have a slavery, and then you get off after dealing with the devil all day. You want to just relax and have some time to yourself to clear your mind. Every man needs that. I understand it. I'm not going to argue with you or fight you or check you for not being able to get here or not being able to do this if you can't do both. You can't do both. Go to that slavery, pay your tithes, contribute to the camp fund. Be here when you can be here. You understand? Now, if you don't have a slavery, there's no reason for you not to be here every day. And if you're not here every day and you ain't got a slavery, I'm looking at you sideways because what do you mean? Why can't you get here? You can get everywhere else you want to get to. You can get to that hole. You can get to the bar. You can get to the liquor store. To the wheels. You can get everywhere else, but you can't make it to class. That's unacceptable. You understand what I'm saying? This is the scripture right here that explains that. Some men, Christ was free in the world. Guess what? He was bound to the Lord. You understand? Drop that. Now, before we close out the class, let me get you a scripture that shows the danger of not being careful with your words and making sure the Lord gets the credit. You understand? Because again, this class is about the power of words and taking oaths. You understand? Let's get Numbers chapter 20, verse 1. All right. Numbers 20 and 1, we're gonna read down to verse verse 12. And this is a very, very important lesson for everybody to learn about the importance of choosing your words carefully and watching what you say. All right. Ash, you got it. Numbers chapter 20, verse 1.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 1. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month. And the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and were buried there.
So they came into the desert of Zin. People lived there, and Moses' sister died. All right? Keep reading.
And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. And the people told with Moses and spake, saying, Would God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord? And why have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into the wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there?
Everybody understand? So they in the wilderness, right? They in the desert. There's no water. People are panicking and they getting afraid. And they saying to Moses and Aaron, man, we should have died with our brothers. Now, who were the brothers that died? The brothers that died was the men who got swallowed up in the dirt for coming up against Moses. They saying it would have been better that we died with them than for have followed y'all niggas to bring us out here to die of thirst and starvation, right? And they said, why did you bring up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness that we and our cattle should die there? Keep reading.
And wherefore you have made us to come up out of Egypt to bring us into this evil place.
Why did you make us come out of Egypt to come into this evil place? So now Egypt wasn't an evil place to them no more. Egypt wasn't a land of suffering. Egypt was a wonderful place where at least we was able to eat and drink. You understand? At least we was able to not die of thirst and starvation. And they saying this to Moses and Aaron. Keep reading.
It is no place of seed or figs or of vines or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink.
Keep reading.
And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces. And the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink.
Everybody. So what did the Lord just give Aaron and Moses an order to do? I mean, you just read it.
Go do a miracle, bust their head, make them believe again.
What was the miracle that he told them to do?
Get some water out of rock.
Go get some water out of the rock.
Something impossible.
Okay. Barack, you was gonna say something?
The same thing. He said, take the rod and gather the assembly and strike the rock.
Okay.
Well, he said, speak to the rock.
That's what he said.
Speak to
It's
the rock.
important that you follow your. In here, we haven't necessarily had this problem, right? But sometimes you have to make brothers repeat orders so that you know that they heard the order right.
Right.
The order the Lord gave to Moses and Aaron was to speak to the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock, right? Let's read verse 9.
And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with the rod he smote the rock twice. And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also.
Keep reading.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because you believe me not.
Say it one more time.
Because you believe me not.
Say it again.
Because ye believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given thee.
You understand? What was the error of Aaron and Moses that made the Lord say to them, you niggas didn't believe me? And because you didn't believe me, I will not let you bring this congregation into the land that I promised them. Aaron and Moses were kept out of the kingdom, meaning kept out of walking into the kingdom because of what they did. What did Aaron and Moses do? Barack.
Hit the rock twice.
No, that's not what they did. Aaron and Moses did not follow the order the Lord gave. The Lord counted it as disbelief. You niggas did not believe. Osh?
He said, just speak to me. He ain't told you to hit it, right? He told him to speak to me.
No, that's not it. Sister Yum Yama. That's what they did. They didn't talk to the rock. They talked to the people. Moses was supposed to talk to the rock to show the people, this ain't me, it's the Lord. Moses instead talked to the people and said, you rebels, we got to get water out of this rock for you. Then he hit the rock and made the water come out. That ain't what the Lord told him to do. The Lord told him to speak to the rock and I'll make the water come out. Moses took the credit by hitting the rock and by talking to, by checking the people. The Lord didn't tell him to do any of that. The order the Lord gave was to go speak to the rock in the sight of all the people,
Right.
and I'm going to make water come out of the rock. Moses went, because he was mad that they came up against him, Moses went and said, you rebels, well, I got to get water out of this rock for you, and hit the rock 2 times and made the water come out. Now, you might think that's a small thing, but to the Lord, you niggas didn't believe me. You lacked faith. And because you lacked faith, you're not going to make it into the kingdom. Moses and Aaron's bodies were kept out of the kingdom, out of the land across the river Jordan because of this act right here. This is how serious the Lord is about oaths, about your word, and about doing the thing that you're supposed to do. It might seem like it was small, but those words that Moses spoke was not small. Those words that Moses spoke was disloyalty to the Lord. Those words that Moses spoke was taking credit for what the Lord did. And the Lord absolutely, Moses might not have thought that he was doing that, might not have felt that way, but in that moment of misguidedness, not following orders to the T, Moses disrespected the Lord and had to pay the price. You understand? Your word is everything. The words you speak absolutely hold power. You understand? And it's important and necessary for you to understand that the word you spoke when you came and joined yourself to the Lord is a word that you cannot turn back from. You understand? The title of tonight's class was Blood In, Blood Out. That's serving the Lord. You ever see the movie Blood In, Blood Out? It's a gang movie about, LA, the Hispanic gangs in LA in the late 80s, early 90s. Absolutely powerful movie. I think every brother should watch Blood In, Blood Out. But it's one of those things that is universal. The idea that once you commit yourself to something, it's up and it's stuck. You understand?
Right.
And that applies in many aspects of our lives that we may not think of. But it definitely applies when it comes to you serving the Lord and obeying the Most High. You understand? Tomorrow I may go into oaths that we've taken before the Lord and go into showing how the Most High established a covenant with Israel. He established a contract with us. You understand? We have an agreement with the Lord that if we obey him, he'll be our God and our power and he'll deliver us. But if we disobey him, he's against us in every way. And he's going to show that he's against us in every way. That's something that brothers and sisters need to understand. That's something that brothers and sisters need to accept. You understand? And so that might be the topic for tonight. Tomorrow's class is the covenants that we establish with the Lord. Every day of your life, opportunities to take an oath are presented before you. Be careful what you commit yourself to. Be careful what you promise to do, and make sure that when you go to do something that you keep your word, because it is absolutely powerful. Everybody understand that? With that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2025, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to know the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on this earth. With that being said, we had classes here in Memphis Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 9. The address to the school is 3000 Walnut Grove Road, Suite 215. If you go to ISUPK Memphis on Google, you can get the call-in number to the school. If you got any issues, any problems, you need counsel, call the school and get the help you need. And with that, I'll see y'all for class tomorrow. Shalom, Israel.
Right.